that you'll get from this right here. So speaking of beef cubes, let's take a look at this little comment here from Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube, if you guys don't remember, back in the build up to 2020, just after the George Floyd murder, Ice Cube put out this contract that was like, a ways to kind of reform the community that the black community. And a contract for politicians with them. And it was really funny because I don't know if you remember this, John, but the Republicans were like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's work with it. And the Democrats were like, nah, let's talk after 2020 and then we'll talk. So, this is actually one of the reasons I started my podcast, was because you have these communities in metropolitan areas that are minority communities, black communities, Hispanic communities that tended to vote, blindly Democrat. And it's like, they really don't give a bleep about you. You'll see them pop up when it's election year, and they'll pander to you during the election year, try and get you on their side, and then they disappear. And they admitted it to him. They said, let's talk about it after the 2020 election. They never had that conversation with him. But check out this clip from this podcast over the weekend.
One more thing I wanted to ask about was like in the 2020, when you kind of supported Trump and stuff like that, what did you think about, like, because you're Hollywood, there's a lot of like propaganda and stuff like that. What was that like, getting flack for that?
I mean, I never supported Trump or Biden. I never asked to speak to the Republicans or the Democrats. I created a document called The Contract with Black America that spelled out a lot of different issues that we believe were the reason why it was so much unrest after George Floyd was killed. And I released the document, and everybody wanted to talk to me. The Republicans asked to talk to me, and the Democrats. I went to talk to both of them about the contract. The Republicans asked, could they implement some things from the contract into their proposal? And I said the document was open for anybody to use in any way they desired. So if they just want to use it as educational purposes, they could. They wanted to add more, paragraphs or more ideas to it, they could. They wanted to use it to get a law change, they could. So I didn't mind them using it. I met with the Democrats. The Democrats said, we like 90% of what's in there, and we'll talk to you after the election about it.
There's like a stigma amongst like the African American community to like Republicans and stuff like that.
I don't know what's going on in the African American community when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Like, Black people have supported Democrats, overwhelmingly for 50, 60 years. And nothing has changed. So something's got to change.
All right. So the most important part there was obviously that last sentence. And that's, one of the things that I've been trying to say. Like, you don't have to blindly vote Republican, but stop blindly voting Democrat in these major metropolitan areas, because they've done nothing to improve your community. In fact, it's getting far worse. We just saw U.S. Postal Service couldn't deliver mail to an entire zip code in Seattle all of last week because of crime and somebody that stole a master key. And it's an ongoing thing. And when you have people in that community like Ice Cube, a very reverend person in the Black community, Kanye West, Lil Wayne has come out a while back as a Trump supporter. This is going to influence the election coming forward, and they're starting to get these people to walk away from the proverbial Democratic plantation, is what they refer to it as, and that's going to be huge coming forward in the 2024 election after what we've seen the last 3 years so far.
Yeah, guys, and Trump, his list of accomplishments for what he did for African Americans in this country it's way more than Obama has ever did, way more than pretty much any other president we've had that I can think of. I mean, even Trump himself used to talk about how his accomplishments for African Americans in this country were second only to what Abe Lincoln did. You know what I mean? That's a pretty bold claim, but the information is out there. I can probably even find a list of what I can or what he did. Like he has a list of accomplishments out on his old website, and that's something you can share around because you're absolutely right. These African Americans and not just them, but minority communities in general, they're almost they're used. They're being used for political gain, and I think more and more they're starting to realize that, which is important because once especially once the election, the voting fraud gets revealed, I think that's going to be a big wake up call for a lot of these people too. But there's been so many clips coming out in the last year or two when Biden got elected, where they go like to these Democrat communities, African American communities, and they do these interviews, and these people they hate Biden, they hate him, and so the more and more of that we see, that's important. But yeah, everybody's got to wake up to the corruption of our government here. But I'm going to find this list and I'll post in the chat once I do, guys. So just bear with me.
Remember, in 2020, Trump tripled his black vote, black male vote, and doubled his black female vote over the 2016 election. And I mean, that is absolutely unreal that he could do that, triple and double it, and then somehow lose the election. Yeah, what a crock of crap that was.
Yeah, here's a document from 2019. I think there's an even more recent one, but he's working to expand opportunity and prosperity for African Americans and lists a bunch of accomplishments. I'll post this in the chat for you guys. And again, another red pill opportunity, right? That's what we're looking for. So you guys can feel free to share that around.
The First Steps Act was huge because, that's something that they did that wasn't specifically targeted at a specific community. However, we understand that it impacted, the effects of it benefited the black community more than any other community because of the drug charges that people are being prosecuted and locked up for. And, Trump was no stranger to having some of the beneficiaries of that First Step Act not testify, but speak on his behalf as to how significant that was. People that I can remember one woman that was locked up for like marijuana possession, and it was going to be like a 60-year sentence. And, Trump got her out on that. Yeah. And, that's the kind of stuff that they need in that community to keep the people out of prison and working towards the community and building the community up and cleaning up the community. And they don't ever want to do that. They just want to create a welfare state and keep them dependent on them and promise them free stuff like reparations and all this stuff and not do anything to actually better the community. So that was the foundation of me starting podcasting. So anyways, let's jump into this story here from DNYUZ. And I believe this was a New York Times repost, but Georgia prosecutor signals August timetable for charges in Trump inquiry. Now, this is feeding off the Bill Barr